Coming up this week on this Lifestyle Show, we're back after a couple of weeks away. Gary's here and we've got lots to catch up on. We've got a new Sonos system. I want to talk about that with surround sound for music and TV and some of the issues that I had. Gary's got a great project that he's working on. He wants to show you that. I've got some new sound sets for the Korg synths and a new track as well. So we've got lots to talk about. So hey, let's get straight to Garry. Garry, good evening.
Good evening.
And we're back after a couple of weeks away. I was away on holiday, and then we had a live stream last week as well. So we're back with our regular show.
Yeah.
It's good fun. The live stream, did a sample creation. It's always a challenge doing those live streams because you're balancing the technicals and the content as well. It's so you're doing a tech presentation and trying to stream it at the same time. But it's good fun though. Mm-hmm. Keeps you on your toes, and the interaction with viewers is pretty good as well. You can get real-time comments in there, so I quite enjoy doing that. That was quite a good show. So so since we've been haven't recorded a couple of weeks, with some things I wanted to talk about tonight, we've got some insider news, but actually it's the 10th anniversary as we record, I think, today for the Insider program.
Yes, it is.
To come round quick, so we'll talk about that. We've got 24H2 news. That's I was going to mention. I've got some new sound sets, and I've got my new Sonos. I spotted something from Pete Brown on MIDI 2.0 clients in Windows, and maybe I mentioned HoloLens 2 as well. So where should we start this week then? So let's start with your gadget. I know or your project, I should say. Really, it's not really a gadget.
My ongoing project. So So this is the M5 mini scales. I don't know if you can see that. It's a bit difficult to bring that to the camera. So this is the scale. Obviously got a little weighing scale on top, the load cell underneath that, and it's connected to the little nano. This is an ESP386 device, basically atom-based one. So the light, and it works pretty much. It's fairly straightforward. So basically, if I can put a weight on it, and I'll just have to put this down and see if I can get the angle of the camera so you can see it. Probably not, but we'll see what we could do. That's somewhere around here. We go ahead. You can just about see it there, can't you?
Just about, yeah.
Just about. Right. So if I put a weight on this of some sort, let's put this weight on here. So assume that's my medicine bottle. I don't know if you can see this button. I'm just trying to do it. So my medicine bottle. Yeah. If I'll just set it to say that is the medicine bottle, and I'm now going to take my first medicine dose.
Yeah.
So I've taken my first medicine dose, and hopefully I need to sort of reduce the weight of the medicine slightly, so to make it actually work. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to actually add some extra weight to it just to make that a little bit easier. So let me say that's the medicine. I'll take the medicine off, and then I'll put it back on, having taken a bit. And it's probably not going to work. You know how demos usually go. Yeah, if I then take the medicine off, it should, with a bit of luck. There we go. See where it goes. So it's gone red to tell me that I've already taken a dose.
Right. So don't take another one yet.
Don't take that dose. So I mean, and it works pretty well, and it connects in through MQTT-X or MQTT Mosquito. So I've got a Mosquito server. So let's see if I can share that screen. So my screen has just gone off because I closed the laptop lid low, so low it's actually shut down on me. There we go. That's
I can still see you. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we look at if I show you this screen, share my screen. So this was this is a product called MQTT-X, but this is just a client for MQTT. So MQTT is a technology used for smart home and other things, for Internet of Things, where you basically have a server, you subscribe, you can send a topic message to the server, and then any other client can subscribe to that server. There's security involved, but basically any client can subscribe to that server and get the value. So you can see here that I've got a set of values being sent back. This is actually coming from the main one I've got, which is actually working, and it's currently showing that the weight is at 6 grams. And that's what's recording by the scale. So if you do get a little bit of fluctuation on it, so you can sort of see it goes up and down from 5 to 6. So you have to allow for that. And then at some points it will actually, you can see when the bottle was actually on the scales, it peaked up.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So you can then measure the difference between the two. And obviously, if you how it works is it's basically you tell it when you've got the bottle, when you first set the bottle up, you put it on top of the scales. So the one I've got, this piece sits in the bottom of the box where the bottle sits in, with a little bit of card sort of stuck to the top of it, so it actually fits the bottom of the bottle completely. So the bottle can just sit on the top of it, lined up. And so when you sit the bottle on, obviously the value goes up. You press the button, that zeroes it down and says that's the bottle weight, and then it looks for the weight dropping to less than 10% of the bottle weight, and that says okay, the bottle's been taken off the scales. And then when you put the bottle back on the scales, it says has the weight changed, and it has to change by a certain amount. And you can basically set the dosage you want, so you can actually look for, and I've got I think I've got this on here, so I can just do a new subscription. Hopefully. Oh, client not connected. Why is that done? Oh yeah, of course it wasn't. That's typical. I've remembered I've just not connected here. So let's see if I can connect. Yeah, there we go. We're connected. So we should get some more up-to-date values just popping in. And what I can do now is if I can subscribe this. So SmartThings / means everything, every subtopic of SmartThings. And SmartThings is obviously the tooling I use to. And if I now do SmartThings / dose, it should tell me how many doses have been taken today. Hopefully, may not do. If it's typing, typical teams. Oops, my client's playing up. This may not work because I'm obviously out in the studio and everything else is back in the house, so it may not get to it. But and it does look like it's failing to connect, so we'll leave that. But if I could get that to connect, that would tell me how many doses has been taken today, and also you can actually see what your dosage is. So I've set the dosage to 2.5 grams, which is the equivalent to 2.5 milliliters, and that's equivalent to what we actually need to give us the dose. And it just works basically. So this is setting up MQTT is quite easy. It's the first time I've actually set it up. Do you remember way back we had someone talking on the show about a smart home system where you could subscribe and publish data? Yes, yeah. And I think that actually turned into MQTT. I think that was the basis for MQTT. So there's loads of free servers for MQTT. So I'm just running a thing called Mosquito on my the server I actually use for my camera system, so it's one which is up 24 hours all the time. It's Windows based, but you can run a Raspberry Pi version of it. It's quite happy to running on a Raspberry Pi, and then you can just subscribe to it and send messages. And I've got a client within an MQTT client within SmartThings, which actually translates that into a SmartThings control. So in SmartThings now, I've got a value showing up. So I've got an indicator showing scales. I've also got a couple of buttons which have triggered when you try and take a dose. And so what I can do with that is then I can trigger Alexa to say if you try to take a dose and you've already taken a dose, read a message out. So actually, if I try to pick the bottle up in which is in the kitchen at the moment, and I've given the dose tonight, it would say, Alexa would come up and say, "Don't be silly, you've already given a dose," and you'd be warned. Or equally, if I haven't given a dose in the time slot, so obviously if you can say how many doses you need a day. So if in this case I need 2 doses a day, so and you can say is it morning, midday, and so it's basically is it meal times, which is what the usual dosage thing is. It breakfast, lunch, and tea. And you can, so in this case I've got it set for morning dose and evening dose, and if I haven't taken a dose after midday from the morning, it will start saying you probably need to take a dose of medicine now. And that sort of thing. So it works pretty well. It's a pretty impressive system to work on. And I do like this MQTT client. It's quite nice for MQTTX, another free client. It's just quite a way of just do testing stuff. But there's some really nice tooling on Android. There's an app called IoT MQTT, which actually allows you to do things like put dials on, put nice displays on. You can do sort of like a speedo look for this. And if I had my phone here, which I've forgotten to bring into the show, I would show you it. But I'll try and bring that on next time so we can actually have a look at it. But yeah, it works really well, and it just hangs all together really nicely. So the first time I used MQTT, and I know it's used by a lot of people for their smart homes. If you use some of the home automation systems, that they actually are based on MQTT. And use that as the foundation. Haven't needed to use it before, but it works really well, and it's inspiring me to think about what else I could do with this device, because these are incredibly cheap. I mean, I actually saw a deal the other day where the scales was £3, and this processor was £4. So you can get that set up for less than a tenner. And then you program it, and then it's still down to the software, which is again using just a very simple piece of technology. Let me see if I can get that up screen. I've got the old version, I think. Bear with me a second. So I've just got to pull the right connectivity up, and I'll share the screen. But yeah, so I'm using a thing called UI Flow, which basically works very like. Let's just share the screen. So we'll just share that screen. There you go. So you can see this is UI Flow, and there's two versions. I'm using UI Flow 1, and if I just load up the old, this is a slightly older version of the code, but you can still see the principle of it.
It looks a bit like that, like Scratch.
It is very like Scratch. It's using the same under the skin technology. And you can see this. I mean, it's a fairly complex bit of code, but it's not that difficult to understand what's going on. So you got an init section which basically connects to the Wi-Fi, gets the time, because I need to know what the time of day is. And in this case, I actually use the American time zone for it for some strange reasons in my calculations. You can set the color of the button. You can then set up the actual mini scales and set some filtering on it and the filter level to try and get rid of that bounce we were seeing. There's an EEPROM in this funky little device. There's a, where have I put it? Inside here, there's actually an EEPROM. You can write about 30 odd values too. So I use that to actually set the values of the state, etc. And obviously you can do error trapping and etc. And then I can actually create a call for the MQTT, and I can, and then I've got a state engine to say what's happening and what I need to actually do. And you can even go down to actually having methods effectively and functions and bring them over here. So I've got this code to say if is a dose taken. So if the weight is less than the base bottle weight, when it's been put back down, then a dose has been taken. So you've got all those sort of things you can actually do. And you can see there that we've got that published topic to publish it to MQTT. So it's really straightforward stuff, really. And then it just runs, and you can just download it to the device if it's online and update it. So it's
That's great, yeah.
And you can see it actually just generates Python code. So if you know Python, you can just write Python.
Oh, I see. Right, yeah, that's nice and easy. Yeah.
Yeah, you got the so nice and easy. It's reasonably big code in there, but
yeah, but it's nice and concise, isn't it? I think that was one of those things where you probably start off doing it like that, and I would end up back in the Python code.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, it is nice this way because you can learn all the functionality you've got. And you've got a lot of stuff in here. You obviously got all your bits which are in that hardware of that device. So it's got all the pinouts you'd have from a normal ESP386 device. So you've got all the I/O you can use, and some nice thing. It's got an IR blaster you can connect up to it. So that's all your sort of base stuff you've got, and then you can add in these plug-on stack. The stack system is basically lots of things you connect to it, so you can connect a whole raft of different things like stepper motors and things to it. And you can have all your units. So I've got the mini scales, but you've got a whole load of other units you could add to it as well. So this is all the stuff which comes to, and I've shown this before, the M5 stuff. Yeah, but all of these are available within the UI flow option.
Yeah, that's really good.
So yeah, so it's got some interesting project possibilities, and especially since it's very low power. So I've been running this now for 2.5 weeks using a battery pack, just a small size battery pack, which I think it's 200, maybe 400, but it will only last. It'll power my phone for about 2 hours, and it hasn't gone down a single dot on the 4-dot bar on it. So even though it's using Wi-Fi and sending messages, I mean, it doesn't send messages all the time. It only sends messages when there's changes, but it's connected to Wi-Fi. It's not using that much power, so it's quite an impressive device. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously very similar to if you've got a Shelly Wi-Fi device that they basically use the same chipset under the skin. So you can see why it would be quite effective for home use. So yeah, it's good fun.
No, that's brilliant. Yeah, and yeah, it's great. Like we said before, when you've got a project that you need to do, that when you can do something like this, if you just set out to learn those tools, you get a bit, and you wouldn't get so far with it, would you? But when you've got something you're trying to achieve, I kind of taught myself Power Automate Desktop doing the same way. I had something to do, and therefore I learned it as I went along. Yeah.
One of the things I really like about it, and I think it's that they're self-documented. These things, they actually put the schematics on the bottom of every device, so you can actually see what your pinouts are and everything on the bottom in nice little labels on the bottom of the devices. So
that's good. Yeah,
which is quite cool.
Yeah, that looks a really good project. That it's definitely and
it's practical. It works, and it does the trick, and it saved the confusion we were having about who's given a dose out or who hasn't given a dose.
Yeah, I really like that. Definitely a worthwhile project, that one. So I mentioned earlier on about 10 years of the Windows Insider program. It's certainly changed a lot in those 10 years. It's nothing as interesting perhaps as it once was, but that's when we were excited. It's a new build of Windows, and especially in the beta days of Windows. But the program continues to evolve, and we have got some new stuff. And 22H2, we've talked about it a couple of times on recent shows, but I think is due any moment now. When the first patch Tuesday of October is next week, isn't it? Next Tuesday. I think that's the 8th, is it? That'll be the 8th. Yeah, Tuesday the 8th. So my guess is that will be that's when it ships. I believe some people have seen the ISO available. I haven't seen it yet, but it's coming. So I have done a video on 22H2. Now in the past, that the build videos would take half an hour, to watch, never mind record. But this one, it just comes in about 4 minutes because there aren't the significant changes that there were in previous builds. But there are some interesting bits and pieces in it. If you've got one of the new Windows, one of the new Surfaces with Copilot, actually, I think that already comes to 24H2. But there are some interesting bits and pieces in there. So I recently did a video on that one. Copilot is more like a web app now, actually, which is quite interesting. They've changed that, but it's got some things like you can do compressed to tar files. Quite handy if you're sending files into Linux world. You can compress to 7-zip files now. The File Explorer's got some slightly improved UI around the cut, copy, and paste, and the quick actions have been improved. There's a few, the changes like that. They're not like, they're going back to Windows 10 creators update. Do you remember that when they brought out all this stuff in these new builds, and it's not like that now, which I think is a good thing because they're just incremental updates. It's a stable OS. there's little tweaks, improvements. Like I said, the quick actions is now you can reorganize them and it's stacked and things like that. But yeah, so there are some AI bits and pieces. The some of the noise cancelling features that was only on certain surfaces.
Mhm.
Those have been moved into the OS now. So and it's not just Teams. So Teams is very good for noise cancelling. But if you're just using the normal audio capture, say you're on just a phone call and using a headset or whatever, then you can actually go into the sound settings and enable those noise cancelling. That's using some AI techniques to do that, which is quite good. So that works quite well. So it's one of those updates worth doing. The sudo is in there as well, the command line. So if you're familiar with that from Linux world, that's quite handy. It's quite handy in your batch files as well. If you use sudo rather than having the whole command prompt having to run elevated, like you can just run that one line. Yeah, so it makes scripting little improvements as well. And let's say there's UI changes as well. So not a huge amount of changes. Like my video came in at 4:25, whereas I think I would have gone for an hour on one of the early Windows 10, but yearly updates. But we're not in that world now. We're in these stable changes. So no official word from Microsoft when it's out. That's my guess. It'll be the patch Tuesday in October, but we'll see. Over on the builds, we've not had any Canary builds for ages. Actually, can't remember the last Canary build. So we're not certainly since back in September. We've had some beta and some dev builds, but they're kind of in this in between phase at the moment, ready for getting Windows for this 23 H2 update. We did get a dev build this week as well, just a couple of minor changes. I think they've added support for 6 gigahertz in Wi-Fi now as well. So if you've got one of those devices, I can't remember what that's called now. It's on the new Eero devices, isn't it? The 6. It was on the Pro one, wasn't it? I remember not getting that one because I didn't need it. But yeah, so the Insider program continues. 22H2. Maybe there's no Canary because they're finishing off this and then they're getting ready for the next thing, aren't they? Really, the next release, which will be 25H2, I would imagine.
I guess so. Or for 25H1, yeah. I don't know. If they keep the same cadence, it'll be 25H2. Which,
yeah.
Why don't they just call it 25? Because they don't release.
They've not been doing H1s, have they? Yeah, for some time. Yeah. Well, that's the insider news. So check out that video and you can see it on dislifestyle.com. So other videos I've had quite a few on the YouTube channel. I did do a video on importing sounds, custom sample creation with on the Korg Wave and Wavestate. So I've been doing a few sample packs and people say, how do you do that? And there's a couple of tools you use. So I did do a video of that as well, which is on my YouTube channel as well. So it's actually how you can get those WAV files and then bring them in. It's rather clever stuff, really, how they've done that, how it compiles those rather than bringing the raw data in, it compresses and compiles them down. So I've got videos on that as well. But also I spotted interesting actually last week is Microsoft's Pete Brown's been on the show talking about the new MIDI 2.0 system in Windows. And if anybody's got any interest in MIDI 2.0, they should just check out Pete Brown's video. So I did post that video. So Pete posted this video showing the new MIDI client with existing devices. So he hasn't, got some special drivers from the manufacturers or anything else. It was existing setup, but he showed all the command line prompts as well, the command line interaction with MIDI, which is really great, of watching what's going on. And he then showed how he using this to connect his synths together, a virtual synth to a controller, and he could sort of monitor it and run this in the background. And on MIDI 1.0, the old drivers, these are locked, so they're not multi-shared, so they're kind of locked. Once you start using them, you're locked out. Other devices can't use them. But Pete showed how this is not the case in that. So multi-client, but using existing drivers as well. So all clever stuff. And once you start using multi devices in Windows, and you realize how handy that is to be able to do that, because you could have an editor talking to your synth, but you also want your controller to talk to your synth, and you've got to do a bit of juggling around to get that to work now. But with this, all these, they're not exclusive. So like here, Pete's using it in one context, and then at the same time another context is still working. So it's good stuff. It's not ready yet. It's Pete said it will be available Windows Insider builds later this year. So at some point this year, that'll be on the Insider programs. But it's all on GitHub, isn't it? The code. So it's one of their projects. So you can go and have a look at that and contribute and get involved or whatever. So yeah, it was nice to see that stuff from Pete. So I'm glad he posted that. I also posted another sound pack as well for the Wavestate, this one. So you remember the old vintage analog string machines? So in this sort of 70s pre-polyphonic synthesizers, there are all sorts of oddities out there. Selena string ensembles, which I've got one of the recreations of over there, which is used on Shiny Crazy Diamond. Vangelis used them. It's got that really interesting sort of 70s string sound. And so I've recreated a load of those on the Wavestate, so it was quite a good challenge to do that. So it's a very modern digital synth, and I've recreated those Vangelis sounds on there. So this has been one of the most popular downloads I've had. No samples involved from me as well. This is just using all the built-in waveforms and just creating those. So they're a free download, but this has been a very popular download and video on that. So thanks for everybody that's watched that one. So I've got your old favorite as well, the Roland D110 Volume 2 is out this week as well for the Mob Wave. So Volume 1 was out a few weeks ago. The D110's behind me somewhere there. Volume 2's out. I'm just finished recording sampling Volume 3 as well, so I'll get that out in a few weeks' time as well. So that's all the factory presets from the Roland D110. So you don't need a D110 to get those sounds now, but yeah, it's a great little instrument, that. So those are on the way. The other thing I've been playing with, in fact, when I was off last week, was I did get a new Sonos system. So I mentioned that my surround sound wasn't working anymore, so I looked at different options, and there's lots of speaker bar options, 5.1 systems out there that Sony and Bose, and they all do them, don't they? So I really thought, I want to be able to use it for the surround sound TVs and watching movies and things like that, but I also want it for music consumption as well. So some were better than others for that. So that's why I went with the Sonos, because I've already got the Sonos in all the other rooms, so it made sense to link it in. And so what I ended up with was the soundbar, the Sub Mini. Oh, it's called the Sub Mini. It's a big old thing. It's quite a big thing. I'll try and get some pictures for next week, actually, because I did do some of the documentation for the video, and then kind of ran out of time, so I ended up setting it up without finishing the video. So I haven't got a complete video of me setting it all up. But so anyway, I did go for the soundbar for the front, the Sub Mini, which is not mini, and two Era 100s, which are the stereo speakers on stands as well. So I've got those set up. It's quite an interesting setup process. You set the soundbar up first and then add the other things in. But what it does mean is that you can use it in TV mode. So you're watching TV. So I've got it optically connected from the Skybox into it. I wanted to use the HDMI pass-through on the TV, but I think my TV, my Samsung TV, which I thought was fairly new, is actually 9 years old. It's amazing when you look at it. Gosh, I didn't realize it was that old. It would do this it's HDMI ARC, isn't it? But it does pass through. But I was only getting stereo PCM and no 5.1 through pass through. So I've gone direct optical from the Skybox. So it's in 5.1. So it's quite an interesting process setup. You add the Sonos, the play bar, connect it up, get that working. Then you get the subwoofer. It's got NFC on it to add that in, and you actually add it in, and then you add it, and it becomes part of the main speaker bar. And then you add the rear ones in. They're independent speakers, and then you tell them they're part of it. So it adds it in, so it becomes one device, one 5.1 device. So I've got it all set up, and it works really well. So you've got the cable. So you're watching. It's all auto detecting as well, which is the best thing of it. I had Alexa routines to set to change these over if you wanted to watch TV and things like that in the past, because my amp was not a smart amp. I was using IR blasters to control it. But now, as soon through the app, you can say you want this. You don't have to. But as soon as you put the Skybox on, it detects the audio coming through. Even if you were listening to music, it stops that in that zone and takes it out of the multi-zone. So maybe you had every speaker synchronized in your house. You put your TV on, it takes it out of that synchronized system and just puts it for the TV. So it doesn't affect everything else. But because the number one thing I didn't want to do is be listening to music on it, and then I go to work and my wife's at home, and she puts on telly and she can't because I was listening to music on it last time. So she would then need to get her phone out and change it over. That's not going to work. But this solves that by the TV takes the priority. So it ungroups it and puts it into the TV mode. So you've got the full 5.1. And then, of course, if you go back to the app, then you can just, you can change that. You can put it to music mode. I can then sync it up with the kitchen one or whatever. So, but you can also do it the other way. You can have it playing on TV, and you can say, I also want the kitchen Sonos to play the TV audio, which is great. I was at the other week, I was watching the Grand Prix in nice 5.1 in the living room, and I was going to go and make myself a coffee. So I just switched the audio to go through into the kitchen as well, so I wouldn't miss anything. So it's quite nice that you can have that audio, and I could have it up here. Could be watching TV downstairs. I can see the audio up here as well if I wanted to. And even my record player is connected to a Play 5 via the line in. That could then go to the surround sounds as well. So that side of it works really well. But one issue I did find was it was all working fine, especially on TV, and then I would come to play music on it, and the sub and the rears and the play bar dropped off the network, so they just weren't there. So it was working fine as a TV because that's using the optical cable, and it was really easy to set the remote control up as well. It just uses IR learning to so you could fully control it, but I couldn't play music on it. I spent ages faffing around resetting this, turning the router off. Eventually I went onto the Eero. There's a little diagnostic mode, and one of the options is to turn off 5G temporarily. You can only do it for 10 minutes, but as soon as I did that, the things popped back up on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's some 5G saturation. So one of the things I looked at is not using the wire, the Wi-Fi. Use a wired, but the way it works with Sonos, it's kind of this. If you do it wired, then one becomes a wired master, and then the rest use Wi-Fi. So I gave it a try. So I patched in from my Eero, a patch cable from the Eero into the Sonos, changed it over. The sub and the rears then disconnect from the Wi-Fi, and then now connect to the play bar, the Wi-Fi. So, and then the other Sonos is in the living room, the other one, and the one in the kitchen also connect to that one as well. And it's worked flawlessly since I've done that. So I don't know what the exact issue was. It's something to do with 5G, and it can't be signal strength because the Eero is there and the play bar is there. So it's not a signal strength issue. It seemed to, when I first set it up, it also worked fine. So it seems to be maybe power saving.
Could be power saving. It could actually be signal. I mean, I've had problems where I've got stuff too close to the router with 5G. It seems to like to be able to have a little bit of distance.
Yeah, maybe.
So that's possible. But yeah, there's some odd things going on. I find some really odd things with Wi-Fi, with 5 and not 5G, but Wi-Fi 5 and 6.
Yeah.
they're both problematic at times, but great in other ways.
Yeah, but the issue with, because I obviously reading about this in different forums and things, and it was like, well, Tay, if you turn off 5G or Wi-Fi 5, you won't have that issue.
Yeah.
But you can't on the Eero. You've got a 10-minute troubleshooting.
Yeah. You have.
So.
I mean, you can say
anyway,
network up potentially, but yeah, there's things you could do. But yeah.
Yeah. So, but patching it in directly from the Eero, because I had a hub put a switch. I've got a switch plugged into the hub, into the Eero for some cameras and things like that. So, yeah, it works perfectly. So it never drops off the network now. It works perfectly. But there's loads of stuff you can do with it. There's things like enhancement modes, so dialogue enhancement. So if the dialogue is often mumbled, you can turn it on. In fact, I've got it on now, so you can see TV's on in the living room, but speech enhancements on. There's a night mode, and I even see it's in Dolby Digital 2.0, whatever that channel is that's outputting that as well. But yeah, so I've had no issues with it at all now. I've got that up and running, and it is great. It sounds fantastic, especially with you get some good movie type scenes of it. I think we were watching Lord of the Rings series the other night, Power of the Rings and whatever it's called, and it was mumbling away. Yeah, it sounds fantastic, and with the surround sound as well. But for music playback, it's great as well. So I've really enjoyed that. So really working really well now. But that little thing with the Wi-Fi was getting really frustrated at first. But yeah, it's all sorted now. So yeah, working great. I'm talking to music as well. I have got a new song.
Whoa!
Finally got one on there. So it's called "Take You There." It's on Spotify, but there is also a video for it as well. So if you don't want to go on the if you don't want to watch the or listen to it on the streaming services, you can find it on a YouTube channel as well. So it's a little performance video. So you can tell that. Yeah,
I should catch up on that one. So you're standard fare in my car all the time. So
well, that'll be on now. And what I did with this track as well. So it's quite an upbeat track, but all the sounds were sounds that I've created that are available in the sound packs that I've done. So there's synth sounds, strings, and drums, and they're all from these two synths that are in front of me as well. So they're available. Yeah, so I've enjoyed it. So I've now got to 9 tracks. So once I get to 10 tracks, then it'll be enough to release for an album.
Yay!
Yes, I'm nearly done on that. and also talking to synths as well. It's Synth Fest in Sheffield on Saturday. Yeah, it's the 5th. So I should be off over there. Looking forward to seeing what I can get my hands on playing with. Still my favourite thing last year was the Yamaha CX5M computer, the music computer from the Yamaha sort of mid-80s, the MSX computer, wasn't it? Yeah, so I did enjoy seeing that. So I'm hoping we might see some more of the vintage kit as well as the newer kit as well. So if anybody is going there, they can say hello, but I'll be wandering around filming bits and pieces. It's a great little show, so I'm looking forward to that one. So that's on Saturday. And then for the next few shows, actually, we're going to have some guests coming up. So I've been lining some guests. So we've got a couple of musicians, hopefully, that we can join us, that are going to be showing off their studio setup, their vintage studio kit as well, talking about that. Plus, we're also going to have our old friend Richard Hay, join us in a few weeks' time as well. So it's good to catch up with Richard. I think he's left Microsoft now, hasn't he? So
yeah.
We can find out what
enjoying retirement. Enjoying retirement, hopefully.
Yeah. So we'll find out what he's up to. But we'll be talking Windows Insider stuff on that as well.
Yeah.
But any suggestions for guests, or if anybody wants to join the show, got stuff to talk about, please let me know at ian@thislifestyle.com, and we'll make sure we keep those coming. We now saw an email off our old friend Richard. He was asking me about the Wasus server being retired from Windows services, which I'm quite sad about, actually. We do use that. Well, we did use that. Now we're starting to use MECM and Intune. But yeah, I think Microsoft are pushing the Intune
Oh, they
route.
definitely are. They definitely are.
Yeah, because it's a paid service, whereas with us was just a free on-prem service. But yeah, you don't get free on-prem is not the thing Microsoft are going to be pushing anymore, is it?
No, might get some free cloud, but not so much of that. But,
yeah. So it was good to see. Yeah, he said he was also having a few issues with the electrics on his Renault. So it's nothing new there then.
Talk about electrics and cars. Next, not this Friday, but the Friday afterwards, 11th to 13th of October, it's Everything Electric South in Farnborough. So anybody who wants to find out about electric cars, that's a good place to go.
Oh, that's a big show, that one, isn't it?
It is, and it's got a few launches there, a few things you'll be able to do for the first time. So I think it's the Hyundai Insta, which is their small family, very small mini car for the city drivers, and also it's the first place you can actually go and test drive a MG Cyberstar sports car. So if you fancy driving one of those, I suspect that those bookings for that will go very, very quickly. I can't imagine that taking. And I doubt very much that MG will do their usual thing of just letting you drive, because normally if you take an MG out for a ride at one of these events, they'd let you just get in it and drive it without anybody in the car with you. I can't imagine them doing that with a Cyberstar, and I might go missing again. Yeah, or go for a longer test drive than normally allowed. But Farnborough's not possibly the best place to go for a test drive some days, because the roads can be quite clogged up around there. But it'll still be fun. So definitely worth a look. Tickets are available online at the Everything Electric Show. You can find out what you want, but I think the tickets will be available on the day as well. Normally are, but there appears to be a lot going on. So lots of dealers. It's the big I know they had the Everything Electric in London this year. In some ways, I prefer the one the South. It seems to be the one which gets more. It's got a better venue, to be honest. I think there's more stuff to see. So so. I'm not sure if I'll make the press day this year, but we will see. And if I do, I'll try and bring some more interviews with people on having it. I do. There is one talk I think I might have to see if I can get a copy of, even if I can't get there, which is Dan Caesar talking about how to deal with trolls. That could be very useful.
Yeah, definitely. I think we could all do that one. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to have a look at this, but I've actually managed to get a much better demo set up of my thing now. So
yeah, go on.
Let me show you this. So this is obviously on the left. You've already seen MQTTX. This is the terminal. So I've actually connected the device up to my laptop now. So we're seeing what it's showing effectively on its console. So you can see the weight's sitting around about 28, 29. If I squeeze the device, which I'll do just like off screen, you can see the weight goes up.
Yeah.
So if I decide, and you can see obviously on the left hand side as well that's echoing that as I move up and down the screen, you can see that it's updating on the MQTT topic. So let me apply some pressure and tell it that that's the weight we're going to use as our weight. We see starting weight set. If I now release it, it's going to drop down and it's going to say the bottle has been removed. And if I then apply not quite so much weight, bottle is on the stand, that's taken a dose. Now if I try and remove it again, overdose.
Oh,
it's all working, and that would show the dosage as well. So you can see the principle works quite well, and it stables. And you can also see here it's now stabilized at 32 grams. There is quite a bit of variance at the bottom end, so you do really have to work around that. But it's stabilized, so it's no longer sending MQTT messages, so it's not using much battery at all to sit in that mode.
It only sends it when it needs to.
Works quite
really
nicely.
Interesting. Yeah.
But it's nice to see the MQTT messages running. And obviously I've got those shown on the same screen, but the server for that is back in the house. So it's actually bouncing messages off the server on Wi-Fi to do it. It's really simple protocol. And because I've prefixed it with the SmartThings value, my SmartThings hub is picking that up as well and would actually do the processing. So there's probably messages going off in the house saying someone's don't take that medicine.
So you can it's showing up as a smart home device.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So
Yeah.
so in fact, it shows up with several smart home devices. It shows up one which is a meter to show, so I can actually, if I want to display what weight is on that, so I can use it as a set of scales. I can do. It's also got an alarm as well, so it's got a sensor basically showing if a dosage sensor, and it's got a light as well, so you can switch the light on. And the light switch is the one I use to trigger Alexa. So basically, Alexa looks for the light switch and says, "Oh, yeah, if that's on, then issue the warning." So it works. Well, it's nicely integrated. So it's yeah. And if I was saying about MQTT, and I brain went blank on it early on, but it's Home Assistant, which has got MQTT fairly well baked into it, especially for Zigbee devices. So yeah, it works well. It's good stuff.
Excellent. Well, that's really impressive. That. Well, and what's the best way anybody can get in touch if they want to know more about this and the other things that
you can find me on most of the social medias at Garry WMA. I get that my mouth around that. That's Garry 2 R's. You can find me on YouTube for EV stuff on the EV Owner channel. I'm also going to spin up the Fascinating Tech YouTube channel fairly shortly, and actually I'll go through a bit more detail on how I put this together and the components I'm using on it, to show some, and the programming of it as well, to get an idea how it all hangs together. Yeah,
excellent stuff. Well, it was great to be back again, so we'll be back next week, probably with a guest. Hopefully we will be, but we'll definitely be back in some shape and form. You can get me Ian at digitalifestyle.com, at Ian Dixon on social media, and thanks to everybody that subscribed and got us over that 10,100 something now, so yeah, that's great to get that number up, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.